You're listening to the 10-minute podcast challenge that will prove every place is the same. Welcome your host, the irreverent, the cosmopolitan, the wicked, Daniela Vlaskalic.
Hello, and welcome to Every Place is the Same. I am thrilled to welcome my guest today, Tim Machin. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Daniela.
Now, Tim, you have spent time in Victoria, British Columbia, which is in Canada, as well as Petrolia, Ontario, which is also in Canada. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. Now, would you say that these two places are the same?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, well, today, on Every Place is the Same, we're going to prove that, in fact, Victoria, BC and Petrolia, Ontario are the same. So why don't you tell me about Victoria? How it feels, how it looks.
Victoria seems like a very relaxed place to me. I associate it with blue skies, warm summers, the beach, the sea, that kind of ozone-y, salty smell in the air, and, you know, also cream teas, fish and chips, that sort of thing.
What's it like walking around? What does it look like in Victoria?
There's lots of trees, lots of greenery, lovely gardens, lots of old people walking around or getting around one way or another. It seems like there's lots of space in Victoria. It doesn't seem crowded, and lots of sort of meandery kind of roads that seem to go in different directions, unlike, say, Toronto, where everything's on a grid, so you always know exactly where you are.
Interesting. So, tell me about Petrolia, Ontario. What does it look like, feel like?
Petrolia is quite small. It seems to, the whole city seems to, well, I'm not sure if you would call it a city, in fact. It seems to exist within about 3 blocks. It seems like there's a town hall, a sort of little theater. Well, it's not a little theater, it's a very nice theater, actually. There's a Legion, a few restaurants, a supermarket, and a very nice rec center. And that's about it.
What's it look like when you're walking around?
I remember it was kind of a bit snowy there when I was there, and the buildings seemed mostly older, except for this rec center, which was really nice and new, built with oil money, you know. And cars. There was a lot of cars.
A lot of cars.
Yeah. Even for a small town.
The theater in Petrolia. Did you know that it's called the Victoria Playhouse?
Yes, I did know that.
Now, it's a National Historic Site in Canada. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
And it was also called, Petrolia is also known as Canada's Victoria Oil Town.
I did not know that. Can I tell you something that I do know about Petrolia?
Yes.
Can I tell you something that I learned about Petrolia? Is that, you know, every town sort of has a catchphrase that they sort of use to say, Petrolia, this. You know what Petrolia's catchphrase is? You'll be surprised. Petrolia, you'll be surprised. It really cracks me up.
What's Victoria's catchphrase?
Well, I know that Victoria is generally known as the retirement capital of Canada.
Petrolia was started in 1866. And did you know that Victoria became the capital of BC in that same time?
No, I didn't.
It did. Now, Petrolia is an oil town.
Yes.
And it has been since that time period. And now in Victoria, one of the largest imports in the late 19th century was opium.
I didn't know that.
Really?
No, I didn't know. I mean, I know that Victoria is one of the drug capitals of Canada still. That and witchcraft.
So Victoria is one of the top 20 cities worldwide for quality of life. What would you say that quality of life is?
A really relaxed, a place of relaxation. Yeah, relaxation, beautiful views. I mean, you buy the sea, you buy the Pacific, and it's, like I said, there's a lot of green. Green is relaxing. The sea is relaxing. You can get out in all sorts of weather. Like, I love going down to the beach with my mum, and we just like to look and see whether we can see whether there's a seal that always comes into the bay near their house. So we like to look and see whether we can see the seal. And then there's lots of people out walking their dogs. And it's...
What would you say is the quality of life in Petrolia?
Well, there was one restaurant that was really nice. I went there twice. And you know what? They had really nice meatloaf. Yeah. And I asked the waitress what she would have, and she said the meatloaf. And it was really, really nice comfort food. It's really what I wanted. But since then, I've become a vegetarian, and I don't know whether they'd be able to serve me anything there now. And I also had a really nice kind of apple pie, and it was with whipped cream, but they were really pushing this caramel whipped cream. Like, I know another guy who had a different kind of pie, and he had to have the caramel whipped cream as well. They're really big on the caramel whipped cream in Petrolia. That's the quality of life in Petrolia. Caramel whipped cream and meatloaf.
So, now, what kind of pie was it?
I think it was an apple pie.
And apples are very popular in British Columbia, are they not?
I believe so, yeah.
They grow there?
I believe so.
And there's a lot of apples that grow in Ontario, is that true?
Yes, yeah. You know, one of my favorite apples is an Ontario apple. I think you can only get it in Ontario, and that is the Honeycrisp. Have you ever had one of those?
I have.
They are so good that you wouldn't want to waste them on an apple pie because they're good raw. They're so crunchy and tasty.
You want to just have it on its own.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. Now, there's a lot of interesting, famous musicians that have come out of Victoria.
Tell me.
So, Nelly Furtado.
Oh, yeah.
David Foster.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Now, the Moffats. Swollen Members.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's a lot of famous hockey players that have come from Petrolia.
Right. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, that just doesn't surprise me, but
Dale Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Hunter.
Of course.
So, both of these, would you say, are they smaller communities?
Definitely.
Have quite a number of famous people that have come out of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. Why do you think that is?
I'm going to ask you that
Okay,
question.
I know why I think it is. Because there's nothing else to do there.
So, would you say there's not a lot to do in Victoria?
Yeah, I found that as a teenager. Like, I used to just spend a lot of time in my room listening to The Cure.
And would you say there's not a lot to do in Petrolia?
Yep.
What were you doing there when you weren't eating meatloaf?
What was I doing there? I was watching a lot of very fine performances by musicians and performers of all kinds, really. But we'd gathered there specifically for that purpose for those particular few days.
So, great musicians in Petrolia, great musicians in Victoria.
Whoa.
Tim, I want to thank you for being my guest today. Whether it's great music, apples, tributes to Victoria, and not a lot to do. We have proven once again that every place is the same.
Amazing.
You just listened to Every Place is the Same, hosted by Daniela Vlaskalic and produced by Drumcast Productions. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and follow us on Instagram at Every Place is the Same. Until next time, enjoy your travels.